What's up, guys? Barry Game here, back with some more Idle Heroes, and today I want to talk about a topic that really needs to be brought up, and that's the fact that yes, we are getting more Core of Origin chests, although they're half of a Core of Origin. That's where I think the biggest issue lies. We're getting a lot of those in big events. We just had it at Anniversary, and it really made me do kind of like a retrospect to be like, are Core of Origins really even worth going for? Because even myself, on my own free-to-play account, they really don't feel like that big of a power boost. And the other biggest part is, what if the meta changes? There's no way to swap away from that core to another one. Now, there are a couple cores that seem to be solid for the early game free to play. Eventually, they will be kind of useless in a way. We'll talk about the couples that I think are safe to build. But overall, I don't think going for Cores of Origin is really a strategy free to play players should even really be attempting, because, well, it's just not that powerful compared to other power upgrades on your account. So let's talk about it. Hopefully you guys enjoy this one. Let me know what your comments are and your opinions are down in the comments down below. Let's get going. So as we've recently seen with the 7th anniversary, free-to-play was able to get down to the second event. They were able to get a half Core of Origin, which we are actually sitting on ourselves on our account. We literally have half of a core sitting here. And the big question is, who do I even use it on? Because, well, the one thing is, you are very limited right now, nowadays, on soul symbols, on which heroes and which transcendence heroes you can switch and swap to and all that fun stuff. So once you kind of build a team, you're kind of locked in on that team. And there's a lot of heroes out there, like Mockman, for example. He's an amazing carry hero, but at the same time, he's got like one of the worst cores possible for your team. If you ever wondered, you can come over to Core of Origin, hit the little book over here. You can see every version of the core in its state. There's a lot of them, like I said, Star Swordsman Mockman. He really does not much, because literally he has to change his state for something to happen here. And usually he's a very 1 or 2 round type hero. After that, he dies off unless he has some crazy support. But there are some that can kind of hold to the test of time. One of them being in the early game. If you have a Starwing Jahra in your account and you're pushing Void Campaign, this core can be absolutely amazing, getting additional chances to CC the enemy and additional chances to feed energy to your heroes can be very, very powerful. Ever since it came out in its bugged form, it was one of the most overpowered things possible. Once they fixed the bug where it was actually CCing the enemies at a much higher rate than the percentages showed, it's an okay one. The other one that a lot of people go for is, of course, right here, Star Alchemist Holmes Young. Being able to put that perceptual disorder on more enemies, man, that is amazing, because that's one of the best survivability abilities in the game. Even better than Hyperspace Hunter Ilamok Shields, because perceptual disorder literally makes the enemy's heroes' active abilities do nothing. They just don't go off. It's absolutely crazy. But that does mean you have to build a Star Alchemist Holmes Young, and he is purely a support hero. He's not going to do Sealand, Aspen Dungeon. He's not going to do a lot of the different game modes outside of PvP, as well as supporting somewhat in Void Campaign, depending on your team lineup. Now, there's a lot of these that are completely useless. Like I have Lord of Death Azrael's. Lord of Fear Aspen's is decent, giving his team some control immunity, damage reduction, and potentially extra attacks as he chases and hits. So it's not like the worst thing in the world, but a good majority of these ended up being kind of big flops. And the other thing is, the stats that they're giving on these are percentage based, and as you find out, fixed attacks and fixed HPs end up being a lot better down the road than percentage ones, because the percentage ones all get additive cumulatively in their percentage pool and then get multiplied on the hero. It's not like this is giving you an additional 12%. It's adding 12% additional attack to the already 200, 300% you might have from other sources. One that ended up kind of being a big bust that we thought was going to be really good was Mutated Fungus G-Sters, giving that all damage dealt and everything, and the burn synergy and the poison, all that stuff. Ended up being a big flop. The only other one that I've seen a lot of people using lately for survivability on the team is the Noble Core of Origin for Hyperspace Hunter Ilamok. This does give the taunt effect, so that does mean your Ilamok has to be very strong. If you're using this core and you have a very weak Ilamok, you're basically just going to be sacrificing that hero very quickly at the beginning of battle, because he's going to be taunting the highest attack enemies and they're just going to nuke him into oblivion. It does have some really good effects for survivability on the team. One, because he's taunting the highest attack heroes. Two, because he's reducing their crit and holy damage, and then reduces all enemies precision, which means everybody on your team has a higher chance to block to generate the shields from Hyperspace Hunter Isla Mach. And that's where I kind of am on our free-to-play account, is we still have that half core, because I'm in no rush to get additional ones, mainly because I don't know what to work on. Number one, we definitely got his Splendid block fully maxed out here. We got him up to V4. We have him as a tenant because he does have a good synergy with our Machman being a slot here. And then that brings us to the next question. Machman's a really tough one to go for, and both his tenants kind of suck in the situation that we're looking at here. So I don't really know who to go for. Maybe we should build Jahra again and then give Isla Mach his own home. But as you guys can see, we did get a decent generation of resources during this event, even though we didn't really participate. We got some more of these toolboxes, the master toolboxes that we've been desperately needing, because that's literally been what's holding our construction back. And now we're starting to level them up once again, which is going to give us more power. But is it really worth going for, or are you better off saving up and going for more sublimations? Because granted, we have the two important sublimations done for our Machman, but I mean, buffing his basic attack, because he's gonna have some basic attacks, could be the difference of winning and losing, as well as even doing this last node here. However, you don't want to do the last one here. You don't want him switching states faster than he already is. But getting, you know, this part done, the pure sublimation and the deep sublimation, not too bad, because it does give him a little more survivability. You just don't want to go for this noble sublimation node at the very end. So I do think there are a couple things that are the most important. One, of course, just continuing to generate stellar shards is probably going to be the biggest power upgrade on your account, because use this for an example. We have one additional hero that has, or is working on, V3 plus. Essentially, you want to get this up to 30, the attack node. You don't really need to go for the HP node, and then you can start investing more stellar shards into more tenants, hopefully the best tenants. You want to make sure all these guys are set up and super strong so that your main damage dealer is really big. So in reality, as good as even sublimation is, going for events in the future that give cores of transcendence and stellar shards are going to be two of the biggest influxes and power gains to your account. One thing you'll notice here too, we do have a ton of spiritual essence. That's mainly because we did the glory challenge. We can still go down to the lower tree. If I do want to take the time, we could do Tree of Origin 120 on our main hero, and then just build it, swap it around to all the heroes. This is essentially going to give a free-to-play account unlimited spiritual essence. You're probably never going to be in a situation like we are on our main whale account, where spiritual essence is actually becoming one of the tightest chokeholds on our account, even more than stellar shards. It does, however, give you a big influx of stellar shards. You're going to get, what, 6 of these, right? So 6 times 150,000 is about an additional 1,000,000 stellar shards just by taking the time to do this. However, that means you need 10, 5, 5, 5, 5. You need a lot of soul symbols in order to do this. And if you're sitting on very few like me, that really does limit the options you have on your account. So as good as getting these cores are, or seeing them in events achievable by free to play, I would be very skeptical, just like at the 7th anniversary event, of actually going in with your rewards. That's kind of the reason why we sat back and were like, yeah, we have 1,600. Yeah, we have a decent amount of gems. I don't think this is the event for me. I'm going to wait and try to get more sublimation, more cores of transcendence and things like that, and hopefully get some better rewards that'll help power up our account. If you don't have all of your tenants at V3 plus like we have this Machman, you're doing something wrong. You're not getting enough power. You need all your tenants as strong as possible. A second and maybe even a third transcendence hero up to Origin 5 as well is good, mainly because, well, if they're the tenants for that main damage dealer, it's fine, like Hyperspace Hunter Isla Mach is. But just want to get that off my chest. Core of Origin chests are kind of like the gotcha nowadays. Like, you think you did good, you probably made a mistake. Because again, the last part of that is, if you ever want to switch away from that hero or they're no longer in the meta, that core cannot be changed to any other core, at least how it is in the game right now. So beware. Hopefully you guys enjoy this, and let me know what you guys think in the comments down below. I'll see you guys next time.